Hey folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Welcome to another wonderful day in the Ozarks. I mean, the temperature is nice. Sky's somewhat clear. It's clouding up, but we're supposed to get our first big severe thunderstorm threat this weekend. This Friday evening, they're calling for a potential for a severe outbreak. I don't know. They've not really talked about tornadoes yet. It's mostly just been, lightning, high winds, maybe some hail. So we'll see. But it's been a little bit since we've had that. But it's that time of the year, so we got to start getting ready for it, which means you need to be getting ready for it. For those of you that sign up to my locals, I am attempting to make some different new type of content. It won't be out today over there. Maybe, hopefully this week. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if you'll like it or not. But if you've not signed up to my locals, I put extra different content over there. I do a medical responder type series focused on preppers, to give preppers a little bit more medical expertise based on my training and experience as a EMT first responder. So you can go sign up for that. There'll be a link down below for that. I would say we're back on World War III watch, but really we've never not been on it for quite a while now. And I'm speaking specifically of the conflict over in Eastern Europe, Ukraine, Russia, NATO, United States, all of that stuff. So as you know, or should know, that apparently Zelensky has come back to the table. He sent an apology letter to the president, is what's been told. He is willing to negotiate some terms on the minerals in the ground in eastern Ukraine that's under the control of Russia, and give some of those mineral rights to the United States in return for us helping them. We have started back up giving them intel reports. And so things are happening on that side. And the news today is that the White House is sending a contingency over to meet with Russian diplomats to try to get them to come to the table to agree to at least a 30-day ceasefire agreement. Now, there's some mixed messages coming out of Russia on this, but that's always been the case. Russia is really good on its propaganda. But sometimes you look at the actions of Russia more than what they say. And what they're saying and what some of the actions are is that they're probably not going to be that interested in a 30-day ceasefire. Because honestly, it's not going to benefit them any. A 30-day ceasefire doesn't help Russia. It only is going to help Ukraine. It's going to allow Ukraine the time to kind of regroup, build up its arsenal a little bit more, get some more stuff from, Europe and probably even the United States. Russia has apparently done really good at maintaining its supply lines. There's not been a report on that in quite a while, probably a good year and a half, 2 years. And so Russia's doing a good job of maintaining its supply lines. Ukraine, not so much. Ukraine has a hard time getting enough troops, keeping its supplies up, its infrastructure. So a 30-day ceasefire is really only going to benefit Ukraine. So it's unlikely that Russia's really interested in a 30-day ceasefire if there's nothing on the table to benefit them. You also have to realize at the same time, Europe, the rest of NATO, the part that doesn't include the United States, is also building up its military very rapidly. Is it rapid enough to make a difference over 30 days? Probably not. But they have definitely, many of them have agreed, a good portion of European nations have agreed to rapidly expand and ramp up their military development. So at this point, any type of temporary ceasefire is just going to benefit everybody but Russia. In fact, it's likely that Russia would be seeing that how they've kind of handled this situation up to now, up until recently, with kind of kid gloves. They didn't really go all in because of this fear from NATO, when in fact all they did was give NATO the time to build its militaries. They've had 3 years now, and while they certainly haven't built up to the level of the United States, the European nations definitely have built up their military size. So at this point, I don't know that that Russia would be that interested in this. I want to show you a video here that came out today that might indicate that Russia is not interested in this kind of peace deal. Here, this is Vladimir Putin. I don't know a lot of the details on this. It appears to be at some type of military building, administrative building of some sort. I don't know where this is, but Putin is in a military uniform. Putin rarely wears a military uniform. And so for him to be in a military uniform, a lot of people are saying that this is sending a message that we're not interested in peace on these terms, that we are ramping up war, or he's sending a message that you're not dealing with just some politician or some diplomat. You're dealing with someone in charge of a military big enough to stomp you in the ground. I don't know. That's the possibility there that's being sent. Here's the thing. As we, and I say this, as we know what this peace deal is, and then we don't know, that's the thing. It's been so piecemeal together. We hear a little bit here, we hear a little bit there. I don't know that we've really yet heard what the whole plan is, or at least a good portion of that plan. But apparently, part of the plan is to give the United States mineral rights to those portions of Eastern Europe that have the minerals. That's majority of it is under the control of Russia. Now, if, like I said the other day, yesterday or whatever, if we put facilities in there to mine that, we're going to need to put military troops in there. Of course, Russia has said under no conditions will they allow UN troops to be, or NATO troops to be in Ukraine under any kind of peacekeeping mission whatsoever. So the option would be, well, the United States pull out of NATO. Now we're not NATO troops, so we don't qualify as that's in that stipulation, which is what the president has said. He said he wants to pull us out of NATO. So let's say that happens. Let's say we pull out of NATO and Russia agrees to allow us to have our troops in Eastern Europe, Eastern Ukraine, so that we can mine things. Now, that is assuming that Russia backs away and lets go of all that. They've conquered that land. Even the president has said they've conquered that land. So they'd have to sit there and split it up and figure out who has control over what. But either way. So now we have American troops in Eastern Ukraine, not under the banner of NATO, protecting our assets in Ukraine. But then, and there's a peace deal. But here's the thing. In doing that, it's only going to make, I think, it's only going to make NATO, European countries, especially if the United States pulls out, it's going to make them even more desperate. It's going to make them even more suspicious that Russia could eventually make a move on them. Maybe not now, but maybe in 2, 3, 4 years. All sides also have to realize and know that President Trump is only going to be president for less than 4 more years. I mean, it's most likely that Putin will be in charge of Russia a lot longer than Donald Trump will be in charge of the United States. And so they know that whatever deal they make, they're making it with Donald Trump. And they can't bet on the fact that J.D. Vance or someone else would take his place. It could be Kamala Harris gets elected as president. Who knows? And so they have to always play that in. So this idea that Putin is just going to hand things over and to give in to Donald Trump because he is the deal maker, I think is pompous. I don't think it's going to be that easy. NATO is going to be fearful if this deal that I just spoke of, if that's how it works, Russia is going to have its time to build up. NATO, the existing at that time NATO, European countries, they're going to be building up. And then if a war does start, which it most likely will at that point, now you've got the United States in the middle. You've got boots on the ground in Russia, in Ukraine, that the United States has put there. So now we are in another kind of sort of occupation peacekeeping mission where we have to put tens of thousands of troops there and potentially be the barrier of the next World War III, which could certainly kick off. And even if it doesn't kick off in Ukraine, it could kick off north of there, Finland. There's all sorts of places. And then we're stuck in the middle again. So I don't know that it's really a win situation for us. I mean, would we have access to those minerals? Okay, so that's a good thing. But militarily speaking, I don't think that it's necessarily a big win for us. But on the other hand, I don't know if there is a way to have any kind of win for us. I've said before, I personally don't think we hold all the cards. Donald Trump keeps saying that. That's assuming that Russia is going to do what the United States wants. And I don't think Vladimir Putin or Russia fully trusts us or even the president. Because again, they know that the president's going to change in a few years. And things could change. And Donald Trump, as much as you're going to hate me saying this, doesn't actually have a strong reputation of sticking to what he says he's going to do. He sometimes backpedals, changes his mind. And so I don't think we have all the cards. I don't think Russia is just going to play into our hands or play into Donald Trump's hands. And so what we're seeing here with Vladimir Putin wearing a military uniform, of dramatically increased strikes against Ukraine and Ukraine against Russia, and then Europe building its forces. Russia has to know that if they are going to make their move to end this, to solidify this as a solid Russian win, they really need to hurry up and do it. Because the longer they wait, the more time they're giving America to move its troops in, for Europe to build its militaries, for Ukraine to build its military, all this kind of stuff. So the longer they wait, they've got Ukraine in a position right now that they're a very weakened state. Very weak. They could finish this soon if they wanted to. And they could potentially mow right over top of Europe if they wanted to. And so they have to be thinking about that. So I think right now we're in a very critical place. And I think that the possibility of this going the wrong direction, getting a lot worse, is very possible. And so, again, Putin in a military uniform is not something you see all the time. It usually has some significance. And so I think that we should be cautious going in. If this thing does pop off, like I've said quite a bit over the last few years, it will definitely affect us here in the United States. Absolutely will affect us. And then we start getting involved in that. And it's very likely that China will make its move, get us distracted so China can make its move on Taiwan. And so, I think World War III is still closer than you think. I don't think it's changed any. I don't think we've moved further away from the possibility of World War III. So you need to continually prepare for that. Get your houses in order. Prepare yourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video.